Hello everyone. Um, if you are watching this video, first and foremost, I'm not the most, I guess I'm not really good at these types of things. I don't really do them. But first and foremost, I hope all of you guys are doing well. Um, and I'm doing well too, in case you're wondering. Um, I know that there's a lot of confusion and a lot of fear and a lot of things going on. Um, I know that there may or may not be questions about what happened and why I'm no longer here. Um, and we could definitely get into that. But to make a long story short, um, I spoke out initially with Adrian Espana in regards to some things that I considered unfair in regards to a student and inconsistent. Um, as some of you may have suspected, there has been inconsistencies in the discipline team. Me being a person in a background where I've had almost 10 years of behavioral and mental health experience, myself being a kid who also struggled and would be considered by most to be difficult and having a lot of behavioral issues growing up myself. Um, I I advocated. Um, I can no longer participate in what I felt and what I would assume others might feel as unfairness towards our students, not leading with empathy, not leading with consistency, um, backhandedness, favoritism of certain students. Um, I could not speak out again. I couldn't participate in that anymore. I was frustrated. Um, so when I questioned Espana, and I was upset about it, I'm a very assertive person. I like to think I'm a nice person, but I'm also very assertive. I questioned it and I told him how wrong he was for a lot of his past misdoings and mishandlings with students. He and I used to butt heads a lot about this type of thing, and I told him how I felt. You know, Espana, for those of you who don't know, in my consideration, is very non-confrontational, very passive aggressive. Almost all administration is passive aggressive. They kind of have to be, given who the superintendent is as of now. So fast forward on the following Friday, Espana went to HR, I guess, to say or allege that I was aggressive towards him. Espana has made these accusations towards parents when they brought up concerns about inconsistency or potential unfairness. Espana and Mikowski, now to my knowledge, have also told parents that I supposedly, alongside him, felt threatened by parents who ever questioned or inquired about certain decisions made in relation to their students. That is not true. I love speaking to parents, and my kiddos know that. My parents know that. Um, I have no problem, answering questions. I feel like the truth never minds being questioned, but a lie very much does. So anyways, he goes to HR on me, says that I was so aggressive that he feels threatened by me, which, for those of you who know me, I'm very assertive, but I'm not aggressive, at least not anymore. Like I did have my fighting days way, way back when I was younger and a kid and going through stuff, but I'm 27 years old now. I'm not saying that I won't fight, but no, I wouldn't waste my time or energy on somebody like Espana. I have too much to lose and it's not going to go anywhere. So I was very, very hurt by that. Even more so, I had recently had a very significant loss in my family. And this man went on to sign a card, a sympathy card, that he didn't even get for me. Gerardo and Sophia, who are great people, they're my team. I love them a lot. Got for me. This is after he made the allegation that he was so threatened by me that he couldn't even sit down with me and have a conversation face to face with HR or Escobedo or anybody else present because he knew he was lying. So I, of course, was super, super mad. I was crying. I just had this loss happen this week. And not only did I find the lie within itself hurtful and aggravating and enraging, the fact that you would then go ahead and feign sympathy and empathy for me after the loss that I had, knowing how significant this person was to me, was terrible. For you to tell me after you did this and didn't even have the nerve to come and have a conversation with me, that really, really hurt. So I was in my office. It was on ITM day. I was, Mariah was there. Mariah, who I thought was someone I could trust, but turns out that wasn't the case. I proceeded to curse. I did. I was like, man, F this. Like, what the hell? Like, that's effed up. He's a coward. He's this. He's that. Where I messed up on is, like, I was so upset. I said, I wish I could hit him, but I can't. Those were my exact words. So, and I told this to Mariah. I did not say this to Espana. I didn't say this in, like, the hallway or anything like that. I'm just venting at this point to whom I thought was a friend. And she wasn't. And I don't blame her. I definitely hold empathy. She's a single mom. And like many of us, and like many of you now, you're scared. And I'm not saying you don't have cause to be. We need our jobs. We need money to sustain ourselves. Some of us, are only parents. Some of us are the sole providers of our families. Some of us are not in the financial position or do not have the financial support to be let go of a job. And I get that fear. I was right there with you, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, I have other jobs and stuff like that, but I understand. There were so many warning signs, and I knew them, as you all do, I'm sure, as well. So many things that don't make sense. So many things that are sketchy or wrong. Yeah. So Mikowski fired me not based off the initial allegation that Adrian had made against me. It was unfounded. She fired me after I had told her and voiced my concerns. At this point, I was pissed. I was like, no, like everything that I know, everything that you guys have been doing, I'm not going for it anymore. You guys have done really, really, really wrong stuff in regards to not only the employees here, most importantly, the students here. And I'm not going to sit by and make it okay when it's not okay. I did go ahead and inform HR and Mikowski during their investigation, where I was put on voluntary admin leave. I just needed to take the day because I was upset. I made that very clear. But of course they lied and said that, no, you said all days, which was not true. So I already knew what was going to happen. And so, yeah, so once they got wind of that, and I knew too much. Adrian Espana, probably one of the most unprofessional bosses I've ever had. And you could believe what you want, but he talks mad shit about everybody. He hates on people for everything. He's the type of person, and he's not alone. I would be lying in saying that. All of admin do it. Adrian has told me and my team some very inappropriate things in regards to intimate relationships of other coworkers that I found uncomfortable, and I brought that to light. I was just letting out everything, calling students aggressive when they weren't, um, embellishing certain stories, certain circumstances. I can't really speak. I don't think it is my place to speak on, our former colleagues' experiences, although they have come forward, the 8, 9 of us so far, to tell about their instances. Some really, really gross things. Mikowski, my first year there, when Jasmine was there, she asked me, a student had brought a knife to school. And her not knowing this student mishandled the situation. She asked the student at the time, who no longer goes there, if he had a knife. Of course, the student lied and said, no, I don't have a knife. And so she just let it go. The student, not too long after she left, proceeded to pull out the knife again. It was a switchblade. I think he was cleaning his nails with it at the time. The teacher, I believe it was Matt Lopez at the time while he was still there, messages me and says, hey, this is what's going on. Mikowski was just here. This kid has a knife. I informed her. He just pulled it back out. Can somebody come and handle this? So I did. And then she comes to me and she says, Gia, I'm really bad at discipline and behavior, and I'm sorry, I'm just really not good at these things. And she said she had asked me to lie and say that I was the one who initially handled the situation, and that I was the one who mishandled the situation, and then she got wind of it after I had supposedly handled it, which was not true. Her fear was that it was going to escalate to the board. Should parents obviously be made aware? Should students say anything? And that was her whole thing. She wanted me to take the fall for her for mishandling something as serious as a knife. I said no. She asked me to document it a certain way, and I declined. I'm an ethical person. I'm an honest person. I'm a human being. But I like to think that I have strong moral convictions, and I'm not one to blindly follow orders. It has to make sense. It has to be ethical. It has to be fair. It has to be right. So this was the first time I've said no. And I've said no to Espana on a bunch of other things that he's asked me to do that I found inappropriate or wrong. So that was just one instance with me in particular. Gosh, there's so much. She told a parent of a students that are currently there, so I'm not going to name any names right now, but she told this parent that supposedly Espana and myself felt threatened by her, and that we refused to speak to her, and Mikowski was like, you can only speak to me. Espana made it very clear to myself and the discipline team, you guys are not to communicate with these parents, because they were onto a lot of the bullshit, and they didn't want us to communicate. So at the time I was like, okay, you guys want to handle it, fine. But come to find out, when I spoke to this parent after everything had transpired, I found out that Mikowski also lied, saying that I supposedly felt threatened by these parents and that I was the one alongside Espana, which is not true, that refused to speak to them. Mikowski has made very inappropriate comments in regards to race. For those of you who were there with, everyone knew me, Amina, Jasmine, Hamilton while she was there, and they gave me permission to say this. We were thick as thieves. Jasmine she's so fierce and strong and doesn't give a shit about anything. She's gonna tell you how she feels regardless. Um, and it's awesome. She's a badass, like for real. Mikowski and Espana and a lot of the administration were targeting Jasmine because she was so outspoken, because she was questioning things too much, because she made too much sense, because her just the way she taught, just the way she did things was effective with the kids. No different than me, no different than a lot of you guys. And they wanted to copy that. So Mikowski had made some gross allegations about Jasmine Hamilton that, again, she asked me not to say. All I can tell you is that they were untrue, and they were in relation to improper conduct with the student that was not founded. That was the first time I saw Jasmine cry. And she's a very strong person. I like to think I'm a strong person, and I don't cry easy. And there's no shame in tears. But yeah. So at this point, we weren't messing with Mikowski at all. A lot of bullshit. At this point, we all wanted to leave. But I loved the kids so much, and I felt like we were doing so much good. I didn't want to. Me and Amina, once Jasmine left, thought things would get better. Maybe if we just did our jobs, did good, didn't cause waves, didn't start problems. But it's Western, so that it doesn't work out that way. Mikowski then proceeds to pull me into the office as I am putting Warrior reports in the mailboxes. This was during my first year here. After what had happened to Jasmine, it was bad. So we were just, off to ourselves. But anyway, I'm putting the Warrior reports in the mailbox, and she pulls me into her office. She's like, "Hey, Gia." And I'm like, "Hey." And she's like, "I feel like there's something wrong, Gia." And I'm like, "What's wrong? How can I help you? Is there anything wrong that I did?" She's like, "No." And then this woman proceeds to tell me that she, and I quote, does not understand why she is not relating to the black woman at Western, referring at the time to myself, Jasmine, and Amina. I'm just not relating to the black woman here at Western, and I'm a little bit confused because that's why I hired you guys, to kind of add to the culture here. I was so taken aback. And I kind of looked at her like, "Excuse me?" I'm pretty sure that was my exact words. She's just like, "Yeah, I just can't relate to you guys. And I don't understand why. Like, I feel like you guys, like there's a disconnect, like you guys don't like me." I mean, she's not lying. Like, I'm the type of person, I'm not going to be fake with you. I'm not going to go out on my way to disrespect you, but I'm not going to be fake with you either. If I ask you, how you are or how was your weekend, it's because I genuinely give a shit. Like, pardon my French. I genuinely care. But if I don't care or connect with you, that's okay. I will be cordial to you. I will be professional with you, but that is all you'll get. So that was crazy. We had a conversation later about that. I did let Adrian know. I'm like, "Yo, I don't know what that comment was, but that's fucked up." And I don't know what she meant by that. And I do take offense to that. Like, what does that mean? I want to be hired because I'm good at what I do, not because I'm supposed to add to the culture, whatever that means. I don't know if she wants us to like break out into like a hip hop dance trio or what the hell. It was just weird. Fast forward during the little GCU outing for, I think, around the holidays. She came up to me, pulled me aside, apologized, bought me a drink, and said, "Hey, I'm sorry if I offended you in any way." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure, whatever." But I never forgot that. That is when I started documenting. There was also another situation, and this is the first time Mikowski threatened my job. It was after school. There was a student. At the time, she was in 7th grade. Michael Lovelace, who was in charge of esports before Amina was in charge of esports after he left, after he was bullied out of that position, I might add, by Mikowski. I forgot what I was doing. I think I was upstairs, maybe saying hi to the kids, because, esports, I was like, okay, I have some kiddos in there. I can go and just see what it's about. And Lovelace is, pretty cool guy, really, really cool guy, actually. He pulls me aside and he seemed really concerned. So I'm like, hey, what's going on? Mind you, it's like 4, 5, going on 5. I don't know. It was late. Most everybody went home. This particular student, this was after Sean Gallagher, the social worker, before Jovan came. So I was pretty much unofficially doing all of the social work stuff before Jovan came on. But that's neither here nor there. I'm always here to support students, regardless. He pulls me aside and he hands me this notebook. And in this notebook, I read this notebook, and he's very concerned, saying, hey, I have a student here. She's really upset. She's been upset. She's been depressed. And she wrote this, and she gave it to me. Mind you, I've never really interacted with the student. I don't know which student he's talking about. So I read it, and in that notebook was a detailed note on how she was prepared to end her life when she went home that evening. Me being a 988 crisis counselor dealing with suicide prevention, I take that very seriously. I spoke to said student. I asked, before all that QPR stuff, I already know how to do all that stuff. Not to toot my own horn, but anyway, she, based off of her answers in the note and her demeanor and her affect, if I were to score her on the CSSR, which is the Columbia rating scale, which measures how likely someone is to attempt suicide, she was scoring at least an orange or a red, which means imminent risk, potentially. Mind you, we had no social worker, and the day had ended. So I'm comforting this child. Lovelace is also comforting this child. So I immediately go into crisis mode. This child cannot go home. We need to call their parents. We need to get Crisis Mobile out here to do our due diligence. So I go down to try to find an admin. I can't find anyone, but I did find Mikowski. And I told her, hey, this is what's going on. If we backtrack a little bit to after that whole GCU thing where she apologized and said, Gia, I really value your feedback and I want us to have a relationship where you can tell me anything and what can I do to be better, right? Okay, so here's your opportunity. So I go into her office. I say, look, this is the situation. This is how it needs to be handled. Let's go and do this situation. And Mikowski kind of just looks at me, and you could tell she's confused. And she's like, I think she'll be okay. I think maybe we can check with her tomorrow. And I am so upset at this point. I was like, no, this cannot wait till tomorrow. And so she kind of looks at me. You could tell she's upset. And I said it just like that. No, this will not wait until tomorrow. You have a baby up there that is intending to go home and kill herself. And as a person that has over 10 years of behavioral mental health experience, specifically working with kids and adolescents, we're talking inpatient psych hospitals, we're talking residential treatment centers. I know. I know how to gauge these things. I feel like I have the skills too. I'm a crisis counselor, for goodness sakes. Anyway, I say no. And she gets upset at my tone, I guess. I was like, I'm very upset. There's a baby up there that's going to hurt herself. We could be liable for this. Forget being liable. If she were to go home and hurt herself, and we have the knowledge, she informed somebody that this was what was going to happen or what she was going through. You can't just leave and wait until tomorrow. I mean, your job as an educator working with kids is not to make sure they just pass fucking test scores. It's to make sure that they're safe in all aspects, whether somebody is hurting them, whether they're thinking about hurting themselves, whether they're thinking about hurting others, whether they don't have a place to sleep at night. That is our responsibility if that information is presented to us, or if it is suspected. We have to ask. So she's basically saying, what do you want me to do at this point? And I'm telling her, this is what you need to do. And then I'm also asking her, I'm like, how do you not know what to do? Forgive me, you know, my background's not in education, but everyone should have basic understandings of what to do in a crisis. She does not. Like, literally everybody thinks for her, from Lily to Espana to Dempster. Everybody thinks for her. She does not have any critical thinking skills, respectfully, at all. And that's putting it mildly. She's very easily flustered. So I'm going in and out of stuff with her, and I'm like, please call, or I'm going to call. And I'm frustrated. I'm like, she wants to go home. She's literally trying to rush me out of her office. Meanwhile, this child's upstairs. And I'm not letting her go easily. I'm like, you have an obligation to do what's right. And then this woman turns to me and she says, well, it sounds like this is very stressful, and maybe this isn't the right fit for you. It's like, okay. I was like, okay. I didn't know if that was like an idle threat or whatever. I didn't care at that point. Do it, whatever. I'm like, okay, bet, cool. We can have that conversation at another time. Right now, you need to do this. And so I also messaged Tara at the time, and I told Lovelace what happened. I made sure that the young girl was okay, the young student. I'm sorry. And then Tara assists Mikowski in going through the process on contacting parents, asking her these questions. And it was bad. Tara Moore walked her through the whole thing, and it was bad. You know, Lovelace described the exchange as being traumatizing because Mikowski just can't connect with people, and was very insensitive, and was very more like, the attitude was like, are you sure you really want to kill yourself? Because, like, you know, this is after school hours. Could this kind of wait till tomorrow? That wasn't what she said, let me be clear. But that was the attitude. And of course, how do you think that made that child feel? So parents did come out, got her connected, I think, with services, got her support. She's okay now. She's actually still a student there now, so she's okay. But yeah, those are just some of the things. And I don't want to make this video too long. What I want to try to tell you guys, if you guys are even listening this far, there's so much evidence of malpractice, be it from racial comments, be it from bullying, gossiping, targeting, lying, falsifying behavior records, falsifying handlings in relations to certain students, falsifying SPED records. This is part of the reason, I cannot speak for Lachey, but this is part of the reason why we can't keep a SPED director. There is evidence. This isn't just hearsay or speculation. There's evidence. All of this evidence has been submitted to all board members and the president of the board, Jay Caprosi, I think is his name. So he gets all this evidence, right? Not only from myself, from 9 other former teachers. All their accounts, recordings, emails, of very ugly things that have been going on under Murkowski's direction, discretion, what have you. So they're scared. There's such gross misconduct. Forget what happened to me. I'm okay. Okay, I am. They have all this information. Myself and one of the former SPED directors and another former colleague, after giving the board president and the board members all of our evidence, our statements as well as our evidence to support what we're saying is true, he was willing to meet with us at his office in Phoenix because, as he mentioned, he's a lobbyist, so this isn't just his only gig. Once he got wind or was made aware of the amount of things that were happening and the evidence that we had to support it, and once he was made aware of our intent to go ahead and file with the EEOC, OSHA, and the Arizona State Board of Charter Schools for such misconduct and mispractice that has been done at this institution since I've been there and well since before I've been there, he immediately canceled the meeting. And he said his reason for canceling the meeting was due to legalities. Of course, self-preservation is human nature. That's one thing they teach us psych majors. It's human instinct to want to survive, even messed up circumstances, even circumstances that are immoral or what have you. We're humans. That's what we're meant to do, is to adapt to our circumstances and survive as best as we can. So Murkowski is aware of all of this, I'm sure. I'm not the type of person to not tell you if I'm coming for you, I'm coming for you. And it's not out of spite. It's not. This was going to be my last year regardless, as I'm almost done with my master's program. I'm about to start internship and finish that up in a few months. So this was going to be my last year regardless. My message to you all that are there, I know you guys are scared. I know you guys have reason to be scared, but this is wrong. You guys, no person should have to come to work and be in fear. No person should come to work and feel afraid to speak their mind. No person should come to work or be in any environment where they have to leave who they are behind. You guys are so strong. She does not have power without you guys. And I know it's scary. She is not in a position, and please have faith in this, to mess with anybody, even if she wanted to. The last thing she needs is to piss off another staff member. The last thing she needs is somebody else to corroborate and tell of their own accounts and what they've seen and heard or witnessed or felt. She's in a lot of trouble. Murkowski, when she fired me, I was talking to her just like this. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I already knew what was going to happen, knowing her. When I was interrupting or interjecting when she was saying these lies, I was like, no, that's false. That's a lie. Note this, note that. She said, and I quote, that she found me to be aggressive simply by not letting her finish her sentence. She is dangerous. She is working with predominantly Black and brown children. And you are telling me and falsely labeling me as aggressive. And her and Mariah threatened me 3 times. Mind you, I'm talking to them like this. I'm assertive. I'm telling them, you're lying. I have no problems doing that. If you're lying, I'm going to tell you you're lying. And she said that. And Mariah, who I thought was a friend, she, again, self-preservation is human nature. They were gunning for me. She's scared. Mariah basically pleaded with me, Gia, I have a family, I'm a single mom, like, you know, please don't contact me anymore. Because we've had many conversations of her saying other racial stuff towards other staff members that are actually new hires now, but I cannot speak on that. But it was a shame because I thought Mariah, we used to call each other sis, which is big. That's big. If I call you sis or bro, that means you're in my heart, you're family. Um, but I understand, like when Mikowski is gunning for you, everybody has to follow suit. Because if you don't, if you stand up, then she's going to target you. That's just the game. That's why administration has not said anything. Um, they're just as scared as you guys. But what I want to tell you guys is that after she threatened me and after the board president, she was aware of our initial meeting, she then proceeded, and I have the screenshot of the email, um, proceeded to be all nice and tell me, hey, Gia, after she threatened to call the police on me 2 days ago. Hey, Gia, if you would like to meet and discuss any other lingering concerns, I'll clear my schedule for you. And I was like, wow, what a wicked person. Like at this point, I'm not even mad. I feel sorry for you because she definitely fits the criteria of a sociopath. Inability to connect, poor relationships with others, a loner, pathological liar, no remorse for anything that she does that's messed up, whether it be to us, to the kids, nothing. Very vindictive, very spiteful. She's a sociopath. And so I forwarded this email to the board president. I was like, she just threatened to call the police on me 2 days ago. I'm now a former employee. Why would your superintendent, if I am so aggressive and so threatening to the point where you not only terminated me, but threatened to have me escorted by police off campus, even though I was talking to her just like this? That doesn't make sense. And so then Mikowski basically shuts up. She has not been corresponding with me. It just doesn't look good, and she knows it. Here's what's going to happen. And this is just from my experience as a behavior person and just knowing people, I guess. She's going to try to use scare tactics. She's going to look for any indication, your body language, whether you smile at her, she smiles at you. She's going to look for any indication on whether or not you're quote unquote with her or against her. She's paranoid, so she's going to read into stuff. She's going to probably be super uber nice to try to gauge that. I would encourage you guys have power. Do not give in to fear. I can only encourage you, I want you guys to be safe. I want the kids to be safe. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of there now. There's nothing she could do to hurt me. There's nothing, there's nothing. But do your research. She'll make up lies. She's a habitual liar. And she gets caught in her lies. And the minute she gets caught in her lies, she stops responding. She is a bully. You guys have power in your numbers. Don't allow her to bully you. Don't allow her to use scare tactics. As for anything in relation to FERPA, FERPA is basically HIPAA for students. And I spent all day researching this. I spoke to several other colleagues that have been educators for several years, have led administrations, things like that. It's a very gray area when it comes to FERPA. FERPA is meant to protect the students and protected information such as discipline records, if they're getting special education services, IEPs, 504s, their grades, their test scores, if they're receiving social emotional support, medical stuff from the nurse or what have you. Certain instances where if someone were to ask for a number, it is circumstantial, it's gray. For instance, now if I'm a parent and you're a parent, and say your kid is bullying my kid, and I go to the school and I ask a staff member, hey, I need the number of the number of this student's parent, right? I don't know if my words are, I need their mom or dad's phone number of the student who's been bothering my kid. This would be a FERPA violation, simply because given the circumstances, anything or any information that can be given that could pose foreseeable harm to that student, say an angry parent calling up that parent, threatening the kid, hey, if your kid bullies my kid again, I'm gonna yada, 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 then yes, 100% that would be a FERPA violation, because you are giving information due to the circumstances that could potentially lead to the harm of one or both students and or their families. The parents that I did contact, I already had their information, first off. I was just so busy with constant emails, like from news media, from this, from that, from other employees, things like that. I was very selective in who I told, because I know my own team, Gerardo and Sophia and Harry, who I consider friends, know nothing about what's going on. And this is for their protection. I knew as soon as she got wind of what we were doing, I knew she was going to go to Gerardo, go to Sophia, go to Harry, go to anybody that she thought I was close with, and gain insight, gain intel, gain knowledge. And it is for this reason, and because I care about them and I care about all of you, I do. I have to be very strategic in this. They don't know anything. Matter of fact, I have not had contact with them, and I'm not engaged in contact with them for this reason, to keep them safe. And I wish to keep you all safe, and I hope you guys can lean on each other and be smart and be ready. And it's okay. Like, if you don't want to speak, it's okay. But this injustice that's going to happen and will continue to happen is due to being complacent, to being fearful. Every great movement in this country and beyond, be it the civil rights movement, the gay liberation movement, women's suffrage, everything, it's not easy. It's scary. They're going to retaliate. But you must ask the question, what do you have to lose? You don't. Makowski is going to find someone, anyone. She is, I would consider her, from a clinical perspective, unstable. She is. And she'll spin lies, anything. You guys have to be careful. I'm not asking you guys to speak if you don't want to speak. But please, please be careful. Please, please don't allow yourselves to be bullied. We're going to do our best that we can from the outside. And we are. I think we have a really, really good case. We're doing stuff out here. We're moving. And this isn't a payback. This isn't me being vindictive. I've moved on. I'll miss those kids, and I love them, and I love y'all with all my heart. I do. And this isn't a goodbye. Maybe a very long see you later, but not a goodbye, I hope. But I want to empower you guys. It's okay. You have strength. You may not know it, and she may make you feel or threaten you or bully you or play mind games with you to make you feel like you're doing something wrong. You are not. Use your voice if you need to, if you can. Protect yourselves, protect these kids. We are doing these kids a disservice. They are falsifying test scores. There are seniors, when I was last there, or when I was over summer camp, or I'm sorry, not summer camp, over summer school, when I was helping Amina pack her things, there are seniors there, juniors, high schoolers who cannot do 6th grade math, who have very low reading comprehension skills. And they are being pushed out into a very, very dark world, unprepared, as brown children who already have it hard. This is how cycles of poverty continue. This is how marginalized groups continue to be marginalized. Damn me, it doesn't matter. This isn't about me. This is so much bigger than me. And as much as people want to tell me, Gia, just forget it, leave him, you're done, you're free. Yeah, I am. And I'm happy for that. But I worry about you guys. I don't want another good person that the kids need to be bullied out, to be lied upon. I don't want that to happen for the kids either. They need y'all. They do. Every single one of you. They need y'all. Fight for them. This isn't about me. This isn't about all the people that she's wronged. And I mean, yeah, technically partly, but no, this I'm not one to hold a grudge. Believe it or not, I feel very sorry for her. A part of me holds empathy for her, because your heart can't be that black for no reason. Something has something happened, That's how we look at trauma, right? No one's that way for any reason, right? So I do hold empathy for her in that regard. But she cannot be in a position of power. Not over students, not over y'all. I'm sorry this video was so long, but take care of yourselves, you guys. Take care of these kids. You guys are all amazing. I support you guys in whatever you do. I'm always here. Even if you want to reach out and just gain some insight, if a kid's giving you a hard time, or just strategies and things that you could use with them, I want to be able to give my tools. Should you guys ever want them or need them to help you and to help these kids, that's all I've ever wanted. And I'll continue to want those things. And many blessings to all of you guys. Take care. Hopefully we could, hopefully very soon, and it may take some time, things will get better for everyone. And hang in there. And yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.